So we're completing the blog about Steve Stevens and the killings, and I just wanted to ask you how you feel about the origin of why he did it. Do you even care about why he did it, or it's just important to catch him and just pretend as though there's not a deeper problem under the surface?
Well, first off, my experience, I've been clean for 10 years, over 10 years.
Hallelujah.
And it's to where when I got to rehab, I finally learned after my third rehab that it's a conscious decision to accept the addiction or to deny the addiction. So if you find out that you are addicted, then you have to say,
How do you find out if you're addicted? How do you know?
um, addiction is insidious and it's very cunning. It'll make you think that you are not addicted, or I can stop anytime I want to. But with the situation, it's to where chemically, if you're using a drug or you don't have to use a drug in order to get that rush. There's a lot of people that are addicted to sex, addicted to pornography, addicted to gambling. Food can be an addiction. Just to eat to change your emotion, and that's the part about addiction that people don't understand. When you're using drugs, you're using a chemical to change your emotions. When you're using food, you're using food to sate your emotions. If you learn to control your emotions and change them naturally without going through food or using sex to change your emotions to get that rush, it's to where that will help you beat addiction.
Do you think that you need help from other people, or do you think you put it all on yourself?
Yes, you do need help from other people because you cannot see what you're doing outside of yourself. And it's like people can enable you, help you to get what you want. It's like uh, in in rehab speak, it's a dope fiend move. You're manipulating somebody to get what you want, and if you stop manipulating people in order to get what you want, then you learn to control your emotions and change them naturally. Uh, even with using food or sex, you can limit yourself and be strict about it and recognize, hey, I'm depressed at this moment. Okay, I don't have to use food. I can redirect my emotions elsewhere to more or less get over that spot. You have like 60,000 thoughts a day.
And do you feel as though it's possible to do this without God, without a relationship with God?
Well, no, it's not possible to accomplish this without God, or a higher power, something greater than yourself. But a higher power can be two or more people taking you out of your situation, or taking you out of your depression, and and redirecting you to other avenues of being free or controlling your emotions. But or you can have a diagnosis that bipolar is a mental ill ease,
And you
not
feel
a
as
disease.
you
a
feel as
ill
though
ease.
you feel as though the addiction produces bipolarism.
No, it bipolar is further past mentally than addiction because
But when you're gambling, you actually start telling lies to yourself. It's like you have two different characters. You
no,
have
but
you have yourself and you have the gambler yourself. And then your gambling self is saying to yourself, it's not really that bad this time. You know, usually you come in with $2,000. Now you only have 500, and we'll continue to slow it down. I didn't bring my ATM card, so I can't go ahead and tap Mac. When you're smoking weed, you say it's not that bad. I used to smoke an ounce a day, and now I'm only smoking 2 blunts a day. You dig what I'm saying? So how can you say that bipolar is not connected when you're actually not? It's not even another individual that's lying, that's fabricating truth to you. It's like you're lying to yourself and you actually believe it. And
but
it's like you have split personality.
but bipolar is more a medical diagnosis. Addiction is not necessarily a medical diagnosis, but it's a mental disorder. All right.
Okay.
Now, with bipolar, you can use drugs in order to self-medicate, to control your emotions, or to give you that high, or just to raise you up from depression.
Right.
That's with bipolar.
But back to what you were saying earlier about having a higher power and people just taking you out of your element. So it does take a village to raise a person, and he had a system around him. He had a support system around him that was failing him. Talking about Steve Stevens, and he begged them to see that he was addicted. And the funny thing about gambling is not as though people don't treat it as crack or alcohol or even domestic abuse. They treat gambling like it just can stop. You can stop it on your own if you want to. So they ignored him, and he kept telling them like he needs help. He might have needed help for many of things, because when you're addicted to one thing, you're probably addicted to something else also. Now, I was addicted to addiction, and I used every stage of my life to calm me down on some type of drug, whether it be sex or drugs or alcohol. Gambling was my last addiction. But I say that Steve Stevens was crying for help, and I don't want any sympathy for Steve Stevens. I want sympathy for the actual root of the problem, which is addiction. And I want people to have awareness of the addiction. And this addiction at hand is gambling. And all I'm saying, I'm not putting the responsibility to the point where we should point fingers at Steve Stevens' family, his support group. I just want people to open up and see that life is not about you, and we're put here to help other people. And if we don't shine light on this problem, which is gambling addiction, and there might be other addictions we need to talk about another time, but the gambling addiction is raising to a soar high because of the improvement on buildings, cities. Is so convenient now. And so many people have their hands on it that didn't have their hands on it before, and understanding how to gamble when people actually think that there's ways that you can win. So I'm saying, do you actually put a responsibility on people where everybody could just say it wasn't my fault, he did it on his own, so boom, hate him, kill him, put him in jail, it's all on him. Bye. Case closed.
At some point in time, he didn't have his coping skills, coping with his emotions in order to get over his problem. You have to be able to cope with your emotions and recognize that, all right, I'm the one that can control me.
But
being happy.
everything in life is learned. So somebody has to teach him. He can't learn that process on his own, right?
He can learn that process on his own, but his environment is a reflection of what he's going through. If you have somebody that is abusing you on this end, and you go to another person that may